what's up YouTube, down here from Zephyr Wargames, bringing you another 10 of the best video. So obviously the previous one was the XYZ one, so if you haven't seen that, check that out in the link in the description below. This one is going to be 10 of the best synchro cards. Now, just before I dive into it, I will be doing some special mentions at the end, and this is just purely in my own opinion of the top 10, or not, yeah, the top 10 of the best, so the 10 best synchro cards I think that majority of people can play in a generic deck, and when they hit the field, they change the game. So without further ado, we'll crack straight on with these, and we're going to start off with, let's do it in level. So we start off with level 4. Now I've chosen Herald of the Arclight. Now the reason Herald of the Arclight is in the top 10 is purely because the ability to negate, I mean, when put in other decks, yeah, it gets stronger. Sorry guys, and take the camera out. But the ability to negate, and it's kind of like a banish all in one. So you bring this guy out, any monster that's sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead, so it kind of slows your opponent down. During either player's turn, when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, you contribute this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one ritual monster or ritual spell card from your deck to your hand. So his effect is at full power in a ritual deck. He's also insanely good in the Yang Zing deck, but if your synchro deck has the ability to make a level 4, I would say Herald of the Arclight is probably the first one you put in there. Now on to level 6s. So level 6 I've got is Metaphys Horus. Now this card is, when played right, in the right deck, can be absolutely devastating. So it's again a generic level 6, so 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner, same as Herald of the Arclight. This card is synchro summoned. You can activate the appropriate effect depending on the non-tuner monster or monsters used as synchro material. So if you use a normal monster, this face-up card is unaffected by card effects this turn. Effect monster, you can target one of your face-up cards on the field and negate that target's effect. Or pendulum monster, your opponent chooses one monster they control and gives control of it to you, but it cannot attack that turn. So it's a non-targeting still if you use a pendulum monster. So if you use it in decks like Metaphys and stuff like that, the non-tuner monster, as long as it's a pendulum, will take your opponent's monster, and without targeting. I think that's amazing. And then if you do it with multiple monsters, it's obviously going to gain more effects. So it's a little bit harder to do it with more to get multiple effects, but you're looking at what, a level 1 tuner, and then a level 3 and 2 non-tuner. So that could do you well. So yeah, Metaphys Horus is my second one in the top, or the 10 of the best. Now on to what, my top 10 has an abundance of 9, so I think it has 5. So it has 5 level 8, sorry, not 9s, level 8s. So we'll go through them one by one. So the next one in the 10 of the best is Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. Purely because he is a game winner. So he's exactly like Cowboy, but in a better way. You bring this guy out, if your opponent has pendulum summoned a full board, you bring this guy out, activate his effect, blow up the board, you're burning your opponent for 2,500 straight off the bat. And then you're attacking for 3k anyway. So yeah, Scarlight just wins you games. He's a last man standing kind of thing. With a 3k attack, he's really strong, and then the ability to drop and then burn for 500 per special monster. That's the thing. Also, if you were to pendulum a full, if you got Scarlight out, pendulum a full board, and your opponent has a full board that have all been special summoned, blow up the entire field. You're doing 4,500 damage direct. Scarlight attacks. You've done 7,500 damage in one go. So yeah, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend hits in there. Now, before we get onto the ones that we all know is going to be in here, we'll go through Bills of Diabolical Dragons. Now, he's not as good in today's kind of game. However, he still does make a huge difference. So, you know, I know he's a bit more specific with 1 Dark Tuner, 1 or more non-tuner monster. But it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. When this take damage from an attack involving this card, from your opponent's card effect, or from an opponent's card effect, you gain attack equal to the damage you took. So again, he's probably floating around. If you want to put this in like 1 to 10, he's probably floating towards the bottom lineup. But I just feel the ability that you can make him in zombies, and all you need to do is drop a Plague Spreader zombie in any deck, you can kind of make him with the right monsters. It's a nice one to be made, and he's really strong. Now on to the 3/8s that are pretty much in my opinion, they should always be in the top 3, if not the top 5 easy. So Crystal Ring Synchro Dragon. So I chose this over Clear Wing purely because it's a bigger beat stick and its effect negation is a heck of a lot better. So one tuner, one or more non-tuner synchro monsters. It's a little bit harder to make, but the effects are worth it. So once per turn, during either player's turn, when another monster's effect is activated, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. And if activated, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that monster, and if you do that, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack until the end of the turn. If this card battles a level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls, during damage calculation, this card gains attack equal to the current attack of your opponent's monster it is battling during damage calculation only. So Crystal Wing is a way of getting past the bigger boards. Now, like I've said before, I know they're not played as massive as amount, but Cosmos and Chaos Max are kind of the boards that are at the top of their game at the moment. So when they hit the board, it's a struggle to kind of beat past them, get round them, and get over it. However, cards like Crystal Wing make that so much easier and so much more doable. Now on to the next one, so let's shuffle all those up. So that's our first 5. Ignista. I mean, what more can you say? This card was at 3, it's now at 1, and it still does as much trouble as possible. The fact it's non-targeting, the fact if you have it and you're playing a pendulum deck, you can pop their own scale. So, you play this in a Metaphorius deck, you pop your own scale, fine, you're plussing. You play against a pendulum deck, you pop their scale, so not only are you popping one of theirs, you're then using your second effect to bounce back, and its effect to bring out a Draco Slayer on board. It can be a maximum 3+ in a turn. Worst case scenario, it's a 2+. So, I mean, yeah, there's not much more that needs to be said about Ignista. It is busted as heck, and you've got to feel quite lucky that it is only at 1 at the moment. Second card up, Cyframe Lord Omega. Probably about the exact same as Ignista. He is just as busted. So he's more generic than Ignista, but the ability to recycle your banished cards into your graveyard, so for zombies he absolutely wrecks, and then obviously Cyframes he helps out a massive amount, and then the ability to banish and then take a card out of your opponent's hand to slow them down is just as good. And the fact is that there's plays, because he's at 3, there's plays of getting 3 of him on a board at first turn, returning 3 to your grave and then banishing 3 from your opponent's hand, so they're only working with a 3 card hand. So yeah, Cyframe Lord Omega, obviously he got hit in the OCG. I don't expect him to stay around at 3 for too long, so keep an eye on him, he might be dropping down. So that's it for our level 8s. Now level 9s, Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Now, generic level 9, a little bit harder to make because you need 2 non-tuners. However, when this Synchro Summons card, when this card is Synchro Summoned, you can banish up to 1 card from each of your opponent's hand, field and graveyard. So the hand is chosen at random, doesn't matter. Fact is, number 1, doesn't target. Number 2, unlike the Ritual Trishula, your opponent doesn't have to have a card in each area. You can go, I'll just take the 1 from your hand, or you go, just field in hand, or any combination of the 3, or all 3. There's a reason he's hard to make. He is so worth it when you do. Now on to level 10. Now, Leo, the Keeper of Sacred Trees. Now, this can be arguable. It's mainly in here more for a bit of nostalgia and stuff like that. However, previously you cannot be targeted by opponent's card effect except during your main phase 2 was kind of an okay effect back in the time when he came out. However, he's the best level 10 there is, and the fact that you can still make him, and people still do make him nowadays, says just how long he's been around for and how long he can kind of hold the board. He's by no means perfect, and again, he probably shares the Bill's effect of floating around the bottom of the list. However, I just think as a generic level 10, he's the best level 10, and he is still incredibly strong for what he does. And then finally, Ultimate Sulkin. Now, obviously, everyone knows this card. 9 times out of 10, people are playing it and trying to force it into decks these days. But he does change the game, and he helps you get Crystal Wing out a hell of a lot easier. So the combo of those two is absolutely devastating. But the fact that he's a bit harder to do because obviously his original level is treated as 12, cannot be synchro summoned, cannot be synchro summoned, must be special summoned from the extra deck by sending 2 level 5 or higher monsters you control the same level to the graveyard, 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn, when a spell, trap, or trap card is set on your side of the field, except during the damage step, you can special summon 1 power tool, synchro monster, or level 7 or 8 dragon type synchro monster from your extra deck. Cannot be targeted for attacks or by card effects while you control another synchro monster. So the ability that he protects himself, I know he's only 0/0, but the ability to protect himself and then get out Crystal Wing, and then if you really want to, the second turn you use his effect, you can set another card and bring out another dragon. So the amount of decks that run level 7 and 8 dragon type synchro monsters, it's insane. I mean, you just look at this lineup up here. You've got Scarlight, level 8 dragon, Bills, level 8 dragon, Crystal Wing, level 8 dragon, Ignista, level 8 dragon. So straight away, that's the majority of the 10 there that Sulking could get at, plus obviously the stuff that has been left out. So that's the top 10. Now, before we go any further, I will just do quick honourable mentions and explain why I left some of these cards out. So, Natura Beast. Now, the reason this was left out is because it's too specific. For 1 Earth and 1 non-tuner Earth monster, I think it's too specific to go with this whole kind of generic level. I mean, like, Bills is 1 dark and then the other tuner doesn't matter. So, you know, it's definitely again, it's floating around the top space between Leo, Bills, Nat Beast and stuff like that. But just bring it down on a generic one that if you wanted to try and put these cards in any deck, all you would need is 1 tuner and that's it. You just chuck one tuner in with your deck, and as long as your deck's got the right levels, you're fine to go. Second one is Black Rose Dragon, just because he's the synchro version of Exton Knight, but he clears himself off the board. The ability that he just blows up the board just makes life a little bit easier for everyone, and he clears it off. So yeah, Black Rose Dragon again is floating around the same spaces. And then Yazi, Evil of the Yangzing. Again, because he's generic and his pop effect where he targets himself and pops another one, and then can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, again gives him that extra fee. It's kind of like a break sword for the synchro world. But I just didn't feel that these 3 outweighed these 10 to an incredible extent, and I had to look in full detail to say, right, why have I got this in here but not that, and find ways to say why it couldn't be, in my own honest opinion anyway. So yeah, that is the 10 of the best synchro monsters. Now, I got quite a bit of feedback on the XYZ monsters, and everyone seemed quite happy with it, so I will continue with this 10 of the best kind of series. So if you do have any suggestions that you would like me to look into, or top 10s, just let me know in the comments below and I'll get straight to them. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Keep an eye out, because next week we will have another giveaway coming. This time for magnets and ABC decks, so keep an eye out for that. That should be coming out shortly, midweek. Again, thanks for all the support, guys. Don't forget to hit that big red button, subscribe, because that's the most important one. Show us all your support. And as always, guys, happy dueling. If you like that video, why not check out our other videos available? We've got more deck profiles, pack openings, and of course duels. And don't forget to click on the most important button of all, that subscribe button, right in the bottom left hand corner. So thanks for watching this video. We hope you can join us some more. And as always, happy dueling, guys.